All right, everybody. Infernal and Divine Dead are here for the third game of today. We are loading in with the Cenobite. Tree Trick is going to take it for Divine Dead, facing Slow Galio, Mordo, Chrissy, and DB. Also legends coming from Golden Wolves, Colt, Reverse, all the teams added together here for a nice game. And the survivors of Infernal also representing a lot in our community here. You will see it on the left side in the player tag. All of them with hard Pepsi. Gamer Pepsi, a very, very loved member of our community, has recently passed away, and Infernal wants to set a sign and a reminder to Pepsi here today in the opening game, in the opening trial against Divine Dead. So all together, as the entire community, we would like to remember what a positive and amazing person Gamer Pepsi has been, and we will actually, for the first time ever in DBDLeague, take the first seconds of the trial to stay in a little bit of silence. You will be missed, Gamer Pepsi. Your friends from Infernal remember you, and everyone else in the community remembers you as well. We hope you're safe out there, and with that, we are going into this match here. Chrissy has taken an injury in the meanwhile. Mordo is busy with the box in the distance, and Tree Trick is trying to put the pressure down onto these survivors as quick as possible here, but doesn't really manage to do that just yet. We do still have Chrissy here, however, in the corner of the map, and there's the expected body box. Slow coming in here, taking a hit for the teammates, so distance and time are granted. What's going to be the next decision for our killer here? Seems to be a little bit unsure, but now switching back towards Chrissy here, and if that's a relatively quick down, I would still say things are going to plan here.
Yeah, really nice nice start here for our Survivor Team 1 Gen. Couple of injures, but no hook or down just yet, so really nice to see them performing at their best in honor of our friend Pepsi here. Today we are going to be seeing a little bit of looper juking at the crane. Fast vault coming through, but unfortunately unable to avoid that here. We will see Chrissy going down in the corner of the map, but if we're talking about going down, Dyer, I think that Chrissy chose a really nice place to do so, because the rest of the map is free and the generators are now open for our survivors to get a little bit of progress on them, which is quite nice to see.
Going
Australian moment.
I was so hyped. Yeah, big moment whenever Barn counts. There's such a ping pong. Go ahead, Barn.
I'm going to say we're going to be seeing our first hook, which we did, and we've got DB on Nancy today, not Mordo on the Nancy, so hopefully I don't see DB running around as Nancy and just continuously call him Mordo, because that's what I'm used to here. I think a lot of us are used to seeing Mordo on the Nancy here, but we are going to be continuing chase. It looks like we're doing a little bit of tunneling, a bit of strategic targeting, so we will be sure to minus rep Tree Trick in the end game. Don't worry, kids, we've got that one covered for you. Beautiful body block coming in here from our Claude. Mordo, again, it's catching me off guard, but a missed chain is going to give them both a bit of distance to get away from our killer here, who is looking for our next victim. I think he wants to play for the tunnel.
Yeah, really good work here in theory, if you would get the out as the survivor out. Oh, that was a nice one actually, but not really able to do that. And I think our killer Tree Trick realizes slowly that this is taking a little bit too long, and that potentially switching towards the fresh hooks is the better way to go with, at least for the points that need to be secured here after trial number 1. Nancy is going to take the chain here. That's going to be DB, and the team captain of Infernal is already around Slow Galileo here. Meanwhile, coach of Team Ruby Wolves as well, and really, really involved in the comp community here, showing all his experience when coming in and helping his teammate. But these chains are kind of stopping it. But there's a sprint burst still available as well. Very nice timing here with the 99 perk there. Now moving over, reaching this pallet here as well, dropping it early, not taking the risk. So beautiful play here by Infernal's captain, moving all the way into the corner of the map here. The chain is missing as well. Trick struggling to get the down here, not able to put the pressure down. 2 heals in the distance, meaning that there could be a body block coming in as well. And bam, if there's not a down very soon to put pressure on these survivors, we might be in endgame in a second.
We may be in endgame, Dai, but we are going to be having a very new and exciting endgame because we've got our first ever competitive Terminus play here, as you can see by the perk on the left that Trick is running. So once the exit gates are powered, Terminus is activated, so all of the injured, dying or hooked survivors will suffer from the broken status effect until the gates are powered. So we'll not be able to 99 any gates, and the effect sticks around for 30 seconds after the gates are open. So if there happens to be an end game hook, our survivor team from Infernal are going to be in a bit of trouble, suffering the impacts of that perk. So I'm really excited to see how this plays out, in combination, of course, with No Way Out, a complete new endgame build, which we haven't seen for quite some time.
Yeah, I have to agree on that. Time once again being the difficult thing here for our killer as well. The calculation absolutely didn't work on the side of Divine Dead there with the tunneling, with the chases. It's taking too long to take the downs. The strategy of tunneling a survivor didn't work out. We needed an adjustment in the mid game, and while I really like that Trick did that, realizing that the fresh hooks should be prioritized here, I do think it is still showing clearly that Infernal has punished this mistake by the killer and this little bit of insecure decision making as its best. We are moving towards the mid part of the game, of the map once again here, not able to hit one of these chains, and now able to target these arena here, but I don't think that's going to be enough for the entire way about the truck, or is it? It will be a really close one, but it doesn't matter because the down is coming out anyway. So this is going to be the 3rd hook stage. That's not really the best start so far, and we are already in the mid game, so our killer needs to pick it up towards the end game. We do have a few stacks onto No Way Out here, at least 2 of them. If you would get a fresh hook now before the end game is coming through and then absolutely smashing it through the last minutes of the trial, I can still see it happening, that Divine Dead is taking a decent amount of points here. Otherwise, it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, I agree here. Infernal's put up quite a good fight here with the early game performance that we've seen. Still 2 gens on the board, but again, we've got 2 full health survivors here that I'm sure we'll be able to get this unhook by working together. We do have, I think that's Mordo over there lingering, but you know, the good thing about, of course, Pinhead is the ability to kind of pressure people at a distance with his chains. Going for the hit on DB, which allows Mordo to come in and get the chain. Pressure everywhere. Everyone's being M1'd. We are now going to see the strategic targeting, the tunneling out of Chrissy with 2 gens remaining. The whole team is injured. It's really up to Trick to pick who he wants to go after now. He is going to confirm the death if he can by going for this down on Chrissy, which he does manage to get, but keep in mind, Chrissy's in a pallet. I'm sure someone may be lingering and we may not be able to get the save. Never mind, we do see a generator pop in the distance though. So 1 gen left. Never mind once again. Terminus is going to be activated. We have 2 stacks of No Way Out. All of our survivors in the trial are broken. This is something that I don't think that they would have expected at all.
Yeah, this is going to put a lot of risk and a lot of danger onto them now, because Claudette is potentially going down very, very soon. Yeah, that's just going to be the swing right here. Interesting behavior, showed a very short mending effect there before the down came through. It's now going to be the question also, how quick is Infernal onto these doors, because they are not that far from the hook here. So there's quite a problem with escaping from the trial here, and they are trying to push through this. But if Trick is going for this exit door over here, it will be a difficult one. There's also going to be the chain hunt, but seems like Solo Galileo will not be interrupted by the killer here. It's going to be in the truck, but not that aggressive onto the exit gate. Checking with the chains where the survivor is located. We know Slow is behind him. He needs to be careful that the door is not being opened just with a cheeky play here. He is keeping an eye on the mid-map as well, but this could now go both ways really, because nobody has the control here in the late game, but it does. Slow actually managed to open the door here. That's huge, but I wouldn't be surprised if DB is maybe even being that crazy to pull the unhook here.
They had 30 seconds after opening the gate for the broken status to wear off. There it goes there. So the broken status effect is no longer in play, but we do have poor DB here stuck around the mid-map. The gates are on the other side. Mordo is on the hook on the way. And Treetrix doing a really good job of guarding both of the gates and the hook. So I'm not sure if DB's going to be able to get around this one. He's going to either have to play for the hatch or go for the other exit gate. But Treetrix just not going to allow that, knowing that Mordo is dead on hook. Here we go for the hatch play, I'm sure of it. If only had Milston's urban evasion.
Fun, your Australian ping today is really messing with me. But the hatch standoff coming through. Is he able to do it? No, he's not. There's going to be the closed hatch. So unfortunate, Barn. I was not expecting this, but this costs a lot here. That's a fresh hook.
That is a lot there. Again, I think I said it as I was interrupting you with my 300 ping Discord moment there, but again, maybe the urban evasion from Milston in the previous games would have paid off by putting it on DB. We do manage to get the 3k there. 24 points to Divine Dead and 12 for Infernal. Absolutely incredible, the amount of value that he got from these two end game perks. I think that was something fun and nice to watch, as opposed to the standard dry kicking build that we've been seeing recently. So a really, really nice display there of, once again, how to get value out of perks that you bring, and how a lower tier or an M1 killer can get similar results to some of the stronger ones.
Yeah, it's the second one is going to be really, really tough for them now, right? Because Infernal just doing a really, really good and strong job here, but it's with this end game of this fresh hook, that was a huge pullback here and really not what you expected. You mentioned it a little bit, the Terminus really coming in, and Terminus really doing a lot of damage here as well. So it's going to be a rough one, and Infernal needs to find a good response to that now on the killer side. It's very likely something, I think it's Slow Galileo coming out on the killer side. They need to that needs to be picked up here, and Slow has the responsibility basically to kind of counterplay the end game that was a little bit chaotic here for Infernal. So a lot of responsibility, and we will see if Slow is able to put that up against the survivor team of Divine Dead, starting off after a short break.
Here we come back to the Wrecker's Yard. We have got Slow on the Cenobite. Unfortunately, I'm not able to make a funny joke out of his name. The Slonobite just doesn't work, in my opinion. But we are going to see a really strong survivor lineup. Once again, we're able to reuse the same graphics over and over. So I appreciate all of our survivor teams for allowing us to change the survivors with ease. We've got Kurzep, we've got Kuda Bear, Derice, and Elay, I imagine, as survivors today, going against the Master of the Chains, Slow Galileo, looking to hopefully get, I think, 2 survivors out this time. But again, we're seeing another different type of build here from Slow. So once again, just showing us the versatility of the builds that people can run on these killers, and have good results and some pretty decent outcomes. So with these, we are going to have an incredibly fast find onto our Nia, and subsequent hit there, giving her the injury. I think a missed chain there will allow her to make this short wall jungle gym and start off with the Juka looping, but instead of that, we're going to be kind of pre-dropping the pallet, playing it safe, but Slow does hit the chain around the wall. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be able to get the hit here. It depends on her pathing, which has been pretty good. She should be able to make the pallet, but she doesn't want to. She wants to make Slow swing and put him in the montage, forcing him now to do some high-intensity M1 killer mind games at the short wall. We know full well that Divine Dead aren't silly. They're going to be split up on the gens that aren't corrupted. We're going to be taking our chase over to the shack here. A lot of pressure on Slow to perform well after his team did just, in fact, get 3Ks. So a lot of pressure here. We are going to see another successful chain going on to our knee as they make it to a long wall. Another very difficult tile to run for our weaker killers. One gen pops off in the distance. I think it's only a matter of time before we see another one die out.
Yeah, that is going to be the case. I have to agree with that. There will be more generators completed very soon. Slow struggling here with getting the first down. Divine Dead really taking care and linking these resources together really, really well. It's going to be the next pallet in reach and dropping it on the correct side, making sure there's no down possible. Nice vault here as well. A little nice mix-up here from the survivors between aggressive mind gaming and sometimes going for cheeky fakes. This is now going to be the first down. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one, maybe even two generators popping in the distance, because 3 survivors were able to go for these gens. 80% over here. That's a team up, I believe. So that would be only one generator, while Kirsip is already rotating through the west side of Racket's Yard, making sure that the unhook is going to come out very, very soon. Using the chain here to interrupt these two on the generator. And this could be difficult now, because Call of Brine is also going to be applied. And the fact that Divine Dead is only having one generator so far worries me a little bit. Never mind.
Very good plays here that we're seeing. So much pressure on these gens. We're watching them fly. We've now got 2 gens, done a lot of progress on that one as well. But we do have the unhook coming in. Slow ventured a little bit too far away from there, allowing just one survivor to come in and get that unhook. It does look like he's going for the tactical targeting that I mentioned before. As we see another generator pop in the distance, we are going to be going for Kuda, who was just removed from the hook here, back at this jungle gym where they feel relatively safe, I think, playing this pallet. Slow, not able to get that hit. Your internet is not as good as you think, good sir. He's going to continue around this jungle gym, though. I think Divine Dead are playing this really, really well, knowing that this survivor's in chase. The other teammates are able to solve the box and do the gens, but now they're coming in for M1, showing us just how good a coordinated survivor team could be. Swift on comms, please nerf.
Yeah, this is exactly how I remember Divine Dead from the previous events, and why we decided to invite them here for this one. They are really, really strong, and they are quite underrated. You often hear Divine Dead and you are comparing them to the big names, and you are like, I don't really know where I have to place them, but they are really, really dangerous. It is going to be the second hook stage now in exchange for 3 generators that are already completed here. So really, really strong work. Okay, just where we talk about strong work, there's the missed skill check. That was very unfortunate for Divine Dead here now. But overall, apart from that, they are doing an amazing job here. And Slow is under pressure. We need something really, really huge here towards the end game. And let's talk about it, Barn. There's no one escapes death. There's no way out this time. There's nothing end game related. So the 10 stages that were coming out from Divine Dead were with the end game perks still then, but now Slow has basically focused his perks and his gameplay onto the mid game, and so far this mid game unfortunately doesn't look that promising.
Yeah, really rough spot for Slow to be in. I think here the builds that he brought in, there's a lot of early to mid game delay, but there's nothing for the end game, and seeing that 4 generators have now been done, it really leaves him in a tough spot to get the stages that he needs here. We're looking at only 2 with 1 gen left, and again, as you said, there's no other perks that can help. Maybe a little bit of sloppy in the end game to force our survivors to reset, and that will be taking a little bit of extra time, but of course that's only dependent on if he's able to get more stages in the end game, because Here we go again, the Criminalist coming in hot to protect the Nia from that tunnel. Once again, swinging, not able to connect that hit. But we do see a piece of wood thrown in the face of Slow as the last generator pops. I think it's now up to Slow to try and find someone fresh and really try and capitalize off their depth and off the remaining stages that he could be getting.
Yeah, this would need to be an absolute speed run to turn this, and I really don't see a chance for that without the end game perks and with the good coordination of Divine Dead across the exit gates, across the tasks that need to be done in the end game here. There's not much Slow Galio will be able to do. The Ace is going to be on the run here towards this TNL, but it looks like Divine Dead is just going to take the 3-man escape here in a few seconds. There's the down now coming through the third stage for Infernal here, under pressure from Divine Dead, which are now leaving out of the door here. And the good news is Divine Dead is playing Survivor straight again, Barn. So they are not only showing a perfect performance here, they will also carry that over into the second set here, and that could make them even more dangerous than what we've just seen.
Yeah, I agree here. Really nice performance on Survivor. You know, every time I saw them in the Blood Moon League, I said, keep an eye on these guys. They're really good on the gens. I remember watching them kind of speedrun one of the games that they had there with their gen progress. And again, Tree Trick on the Killer showed a lot of skill as well on the M1. So I'm looking forward to the remainder of the games, and we will set those ones up. We'll take a short break and we'll be back to share them with you.
Welcome back. That was one of the shortest breaks in the history of DBD.com. Shout out to Divine Dead and Infernal there. And now's the question, who takes the better outcome of this break, right? Killsep, Kutabare, Der Ace, and EA might just keep up the amazing confidence here and smash through it? Or is it maybe Slow being so confident that it's time now to make a huge turn, therefore just hitting ready and going into the next one? Let's find out here. Slow Galio straight again onto the Executioner, and that's just 5 seconds into the first chase here. Very strong finding of the Survivor. Nice live play there into a dodge as well, making sure that the first quick find is not going to end in a quick injury or a quick down. We are in corrupted area as well, but we do see a mind game coming out onto the Ace, so danger arising at the horizon here. That could be difficult for our Survivor team. Yeah, you are on the location, you want to be chased, you are able to keep the killer busy away from the active generators, but if you wouldn't dodge it, you would be in a very dangerous situation. Good work here by our Ace, pulling a lot of resource and a lot of time out of almost nothing. So really impressive work here with what he has, and Slow not being sure if he should go for the M2 here or if that would be too much risk, but eventually the down is coming through. 60 seconds into the trial here. That's going to be decent progress on the generators, but still able to get the down relatively quickly. However, we do see that Slow is adapting a little bit onto the quick, efficient playstyle of Divine Dead and bringing in, and no one escapes death this time.
Yeah, I think he's definitely learnt his lesson. I think that he may have underestimated Divine Dead going into this one, bringing just that kind of basic build that I think would be suitable for a lot of teams to get a good result. But again, underestimating their efficiency on the gens and their ability to work together and really take those hits and deny the hook stages. I don't think he's taking that risk there. Just as you said here, we see a bit of a stronger build with the Eruption Call of Brine and the Noed for the end game there. So I do expect a little bit more stages with the hooks, but again, you see the gens popping off in the distance. If there's one thing Divine Dead know, it's to split and do the gens. If they know that the killer is strategically waiting for an unhook, or if a survivor is in chase, they're really using the time valuably, which is really nice to see. But we are going to continue the chase through here with Ace. He does go for the pallet drop and a sick juke to avoid the hit from the Executioner here. We are going to continue the chase throughout the shack, really taking Slow on a tour of the Wrecker's Yard. I think he's doing a really nice job of connecting these tiles together and getting so much distance here. Wouldn't surprise me if the knee is going to be floating around to take a hit, because we did see them. There she is right there, trailing the chase, being ready to run in at any moment to protect our poor Ace from going down and being hooked once again. Really, really nice display of teamwork. I'm loving these games, Daya.
And I love this slime next to this one, and I love the people even more. And before the people is into another down. So many things happening in just 5 seconds here. Hope, no hope, hope, no hope. And back onto the floor here. The Ace is going to end on the hill here. The hopes have been high, but the hook is a little bit higher positioned on the Wreckers yard here. Good work by Slow. Also a very, very quick decision making there, being able to react to so many things happening, to so many counterplays being thrown around him is really, really impressive to me. And now he has also a very nice hill here in general. You will be able to really monitor the survivors across the map. The only difficulty is that the generators are located a little bit further away on the south side of the Wreckers yard here. One in the open. They don't have the truck tile with the strongest spawn here, so they would just need to be able to waste a little bit of time running around it here. But going back just a few seconds too late, because Divine Dead has timed this unhook really, really beautifully. Just when Slow Galio is going cross map to kick the generator, they are on the teammate and taking them from the hook here. So good work onto this one. We're moving over towards a stronger jungle gym here, so it's going to be difficult also to secure these downs, but through 3 walls here, the impressive down straight again. Slow activating, and I think I start finding the answer of who profits the most from the short break, and that seems to be a Slow Galio killer that seems to have the mission to turn set number 2 in Infernal's favor here.
Yeah, we do see a death at 3 generators here. We've had a full reset. In the meantime, Caster's Curse once again, 2 generators remaining, but we've got a team of 3 full health survivors here. Slow, with the power of the dry kicking engine build, should be able to make something out of it though, and have a little bit of stall left in the game. Divine Dead once again have done a really nice job of kind of splitting up the gens and making sure that they're not leaving gens in groups. It's going to be really difficult for Slow to walk his coney butt around the map here and monitor all these gens. So I think that was really nicely done of Divine Dead.
What did you just say, Bob? Did you say coney?
Talking about his coney butt.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. Yeah, anyway. Do you know, actually, ladies and gentlemen, that really threw me off, but it's going to be a nice down here onto the Claudette. We can see, however, that Divine Dead has really taken the time to go for a full reset again, not allowing these injuries that were split across the team here. So good work from the Survivor team here as well. A fresh hook also means that the Survivor team has 2 additional minutes here until the next elimination would come through. That's going to equal a lot of progress into these objectives here. And Slow is trying to find the next Survivor to chase. In best case, you locate someone in a dead zone far away from the generators, but Divine Dead is making sure that they play the right mix between pulling back, being careful, and showing themselves and forcing the next chase here. That seems to be a little bit trying to contest this one, so Slow will go into the next chase with our Claudette here, and we will see if that's going to be a quick one, and it should be a quick one, I hope.
I think so, yeah. Not too much to work with over here, so we are going to be saying once again, dying in the comp corner. SMH, boring gameplay. Slaps him with the D in the corner. Not the greatest place to do some D slapping, but we do manage to make it back to the pallet. Oh my, Claudia is trying to put Slow in the Duke montage today, it seems. We do have a notification of a good skill check being hit over in the distance because of Call of Brian once again, showing us that sometimes survivors are not able to hit crates, and they're also not able to time a body block correctly as well. Really nicely done by Slow there to prevent that body block from coming through by going for the early lunge. Very, very nicely played, but 5 gens are done. Die. You know what that means? No one's going to escape the death. We're a little bit faster now.
end game action with 4% faster killer. Yes, there's going to be an M1 that is going to force the down immediately. And if Divine Dead is not going to escape the death, that's going to be the question we need to see now. And Slow would really like to keep additional survivors in the trial here, because it would be 6 stages. And that's not going to be the best one, but there's going to be another survivor right here. There's also going to be now the switch back over towards this exit gates, because they're already working on it, and just in time here. Not going to be the successful M2, but he has access to an M1 once this pallet is broken and removed here. A little bit of hesitation from the killer here. We can tell the pressure is high on the shoulders of Snowgalio here, the captain of Infernal, trying to pull the points together. He has to break it, but I believe Adam is a very nice survivor to chase here and would grant a lot of points here. So this is looking promising for Team Infernal.
Yeah, it's looking really good. They were able to unhook Claude off in the distance while Slow was going for those prediction shots on Adam. So Claudette is now unhooked. Nia is full health. Adam is in chase. The gates don't seem to be around here, so I think we may either be seeing some exciting shack plays with this Adam while we see our other teammates escape, but I'm not sure what to expect here or how we're going to play this. This Adam needs to get back to the gate. Slow needs to two-tap him on his way there. There's one hit. He gets the distance. Here comes Nia for the body block. They're going to be able to get all 3 out of the gate.
Yeah, this is very, very unfortunate here for Slow and Team Infernal. Once again, the plan being there, the potential being there, but then in the final execution on this killer, not being able to pull it. A very unfortunate result for Infernal. That's not going to feel that great. It's 17 points for the survivors, 12 for the killer. That's a very, very difficult result to take here. And it's the second time that Infernal needs to deal with an unsatisfying result. So this could also affect the mind slowly and the motivation. So this break here, before we are going into trial number 4, needs to be used to pull together, to really, really make sure that everything is going according to the plan for trial number 4. And this will require the entire survivor team of Infernal. We will check how they are going to respond after a short break.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and our very special days. We have got Treetrick on the Pyramid Head. We have got our survivors, Slow, Mordo, Chrissy, and DB, ready to counter him and hopefully get a result that puts us into the tiebreaker game of the Mastermind. If Divine Dead win this one, they will be taking the set 2-0, I believe. So we want to make sure that our Infernal team is playing for the 3rd set here going into Mastermind. We've got a tough win con, but I'm sure we're able to get close to it. Having a look at this incredibly quick find on our Claudette, which is Mordo. I think we dropped chase with Mordo when we found Chrissy once again. Chrissy being the master of being found early game, I think, against Treetrick. Really proving to know those survivor spawns here, but we will be taking chase over to the shack. A firecracker comes in, but Treetrick's able to avoid the blind. Doesn't even have Lightborn, just simply looks down, just showing the firecrackers and flashlights aren't that powerful. A reverse pallet stun into it, hit into it. Chrissy running away comes through, and we are going to be changing our target, I think, as we continue chasing the criminalist. Adam over here to the crane. I think that by playing this quite patiently, he's able to get the down, but could also be going for the mid-air M2 here, which unfortunately doesn't pay off, but look at the distance. What an incredible start.
Yeah, the distance, an incredible start, and that's unfortunately what's necessary for Team Infernal. They cannot even feel great about this start because it is coming with the horrible win condition here. 12 points were earned by Snowgalio in the previous trial. That means we are around 5 stages here for the win condition, depending on how much spread we receive, and that's going to be a tough task against an Executioner on the Rackets yard, especially with a no one escapes death in the back pocket. Slow is doing a very, very good job, but if it's going to be enough, that's the question. You're also affected by the Trials of Torment now, so if you're put down from the hook later on, you can ignore a decisive strike and just cage this survivor, or even go for the mini-mori for the very end. And this is therefore going to be really, really difficult here for Infernal potentially in the mid-game. Rotating over towards this side, interrupting a generator as well. Talking about them, we have objective being completed, just get into the trial here. So Infernal needs to do a lot of things. They need to go for this unhook, check. They need to go for a potential reset, check. This next chase, however, still needs to be really, really long, because the tunnel out cannot really happen before basically all generators are completed.
Yeah, if there's one thing that Infernal need to do, it's prevent someone from being tunneled out with more than 3 gens remaining, which is what Trick is planning on doing here by continuing the chase here with our Adam. There's only so much that he can do against the Pyramid Head, who's got that powerful M2, a bit of range there. He does manage to avoid it by blocking the line of sight there at the jungle gym. He's now going to be playing this jungle gym. Again, really, really nicely done by him. He is going to be forcing the grab in the locker. Dyer, I think it's your turn.
It's the slap with the DQ. We love you, and I hope this impression is for you. But let's see what Slow can make out of this. It's deducted to 3 seconds now with the new decisive strike. But is it enough to reach anything? Mind games back and forth. Fold or not fold? And he's failing at the killer with the patience there, but then misaiming it. This is so huge for Infernal and Slow here. What a run by the team captain here. On top of that, responsible for all the balancing in DBDLeague, and this experience is paying out right here, working with just a little bit and making sure that the run is taking forever. This is now going to be the rehook, but it's still 60 seconds until this survivor would be removed from the trial, which means there's more time for Infernal to put pressure into the generators with 4 people in this game here. Really, really impressive, and it is a horrible win condition. It is difficult, but only 1 more generator here, and how they are playing this, there's a good chance that this will turn into a 1-1.
There was so much to process. During that chase, we had Slow's pro Juka looping happening. We see 2 gens pop almost simultaneously. And then we see the rehook and then another gen pop. I think that this is really showing us just how strong a survivor team can be if they know what to do, they know what their objective is, and they aim to achieve it. We do unfortunately see a max range M2 onto Slow here. He will unfortunately be executed right before our eyes. Rest in peace, Slow. We will think of you as we watch the other 3 survivors from your team do the best that they can. As Dyer said, 1 gen remaining. We've got 3 stages. We do have Noed in play. The last thing we want to be seeing now is our survivors popping the gen in our killer's face, as that is only going to spell bad times for them. We are going to be coming over to a gen with quite a bit of progress here, kicking it with the call of Brine though. Interesting to see, Dyer, we did have agitation, so I'm wondering if that would be more for the placement of the hooks or maybe to make a play off the basement. Either way, I don't think we got too much value off of that this game, but again, Trick's performance and going for the tunnel, I think, really cost him quite a bit.
Yeah, I have to agree on that. It was another case where the tunnel plan didn't really work out here, and the survivors being able to work around it. I mean, the survivor is tunneled out, but the price was way too high, and then the point on the agitation you just made is really important as well. I think the plan was something different, downing a survivor way quicker than what we have seen in this match here, then playing around the basement, which is incredibly strong on the Wrecker's Yard itself, and then on top of that adding the Executioner is just a really, really difficult one. But also this one didn't work out for the killer. I think we need, however, that Infernal is escaping with all 3 survivors here. I think if we have a fresh hook and they keep hanging on the hook, that wouldn't be enough. So there's a lot of responsibility onto Infernal here. They are working on the final generator cross map. We have seen that just a few seconds ago. So Chrissy is not in interest of the killer here. He will move on and try to find the next survivor potentially in the area of the generator here. Claudette and Nancy being together. Claudette is the one that is called out here by the killer, but this means that Nancy can potentially sneak up in the back. But but the killer Treetrick is expecting it and now catching her in the open here next to the generator. So Treetrick also not just going into any chase he can get, instead being really careful and considering decision making 3 or 4 times before actually sticking to one survivor here, which is really impressive under the pressure that must be on the table right now here. Nice mind game there by our DB, kind of forcing the killer into the prediction if the pallet would be dropped or not, and that was a very beautiful dodge around the corner there. So moving back towards the Claudette here, that has put percentages into the generators, but if they keep playing like this, sooner or later one generator will be completed.
Yeah, Daya, what do you think the chances are of Infernal taking the last gen a little bit slower and expecting the Know-It and trying to cleanse all of those bones to deny the end game power?
Well, that's another option here, right? The No One Escapes Death is a very good option here, especially when you see something risky like the agitation. That was a beautiful one. Especially when you see something risky like the agitation, you can usually expect the killer to bring a backup for that, right? Let's say the risk doesn't work out. I want to have a backup in the end game, and No One Escapes Death is a very usual one. So it's still lightening up here as well. 4% speed. They have gone for the rescue here, and we need all these survivors leaving the trial. If there is a kill, that wouldn't be enough for Team Infernal. So they need to be careful. They need to catch the Know-It very soon here. They need to remove it from the trial. In best case, you also manage to heal Mordo, but Mordo is already going for the exit gate here, trying to make sure that Treetrick's time is not able or not there to tunnel out more survivors or find more survivors. Treetrick now moving towards the door. Mordo just hopped on. We do see that the No One Escapes Death totem, however, is right in the middle between the 2 exit gates, and that is a very nice gift by the game here.
I think Treetrick's in the position now where he can be the champion of the hill and just watch everything unfold around him. He can see both gates, his totem, and any potential survivors that go there. This is going to be a really tough situation to get out of. I think the play would be to bait him to go to one door and get on the other, right? But judging by the plays that we've seen from Treetrick, he's not going to fall for that, and he's just going to go to the other gate. I think he's too smart to fall for that one, but he is leaving a little bit to go and try and find these survivors. He knows that they're all fully healed. There's not going to be too many sounds coming from them. We're not going to be seeing blood pools. He's got to rely on his headset, scratch marks, and I guess any crows that he can see. Our survivors are going to be playing it very slowly to get out of this one, but I think Treetrick knows that his Know-It at the moment is more important than committing to a chase or distancing himself from the position that he's kind of set up. I think he may want to take a trip over to one of the local department stores, buy a tent and a sleeping bag, because I think we're camping out here for quite some time.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one, though. The survivors, however, they need to attempt opening the exit gates within 9 minutes after the final generator, so that's going to be something. Sooner or later, they need to show themselves and touch these exit switches, so they cannot hide forever and test the patience here. But yeah, it's going to be a horrible moment for them, because I also think they are slowly taking care of the entire Wrecker's Yard, and you check all these typical totem spawns, and then you are realizing no totem over here, no totem over here. You slowly realize that the Know-It totem might be right where the killer is, which would be a really, really dangerous task to do. Yeah, they're waiting there, Mordo hiding over here. They're probably saying like, where's the Know-It totem? Do you have it yet? But there's unfortunately no chance to remove it. They're trying to be sneaky here, but that didn't work out. Nice attempt though to work on the totem with someone sneaky. You can force the M1s. That would only be an injury. The nice sprint burst there as well to make it out of the area. That's now going to be a little bit of time here for an exit gate. So the pressure rising onto the killer, and even though we have a situation that looks quite impossible here, Infernal is doing quite a good job with it.
Yeah, again, playing it slow, remaining calm, figuring out the plan here. I think we can see that DB's managed to infiltrate the deep side gate here. He will be able to open it. This unfortunately does mean that the Know-It is still in play and we are in chase here, so we're gonna have to get someone on that Noed totem before this survivor gets caught out. But they have, oh Chrissy, they have been able to run quite a distance away. Pro Ducal Loops, they did manage to get the Noed in the meantime, and M1 comes through. Chrissy's able to get a speed boost. The team can certainly come in for body blocks. We need to deny this. We need to get the 3 people out. We need to block this killer from being able to reach Chrissy at all costs. Look at the teamwork here. Look at the capabilities of these survivors. It's absolutely incredible to watch. We now have Mordo taking a hit. We've got DB, MVP of the team, coming in, protecting his brothers. Get them out. We've got to do some ducal looping of the M2 right now. They do it. They take the 3 out.
Oh, I think that's the turn. That's the turn here last second. When in this impossible situation where you have a Noah totem right next to the killer in the middle of the exit gate. After getting 5 staged, you're turning it 30 to 27. There's the confirmation from our wonderful scorekeepers. They're pulling it. We're going into the tiebreaker even. This is insane. Insane work by Infernal. And this shows us once again, never give up in a match. You can always make a turn here. And now, Barn, this is the big thing, right? We're going into the Mastermind set. Yeah, nice. That's going to be an interesting killer, but we had 2 times beforehand where Infernal had to take a really, really difficult loss, or at least a very, very difficult turn, and now they have just turned the entire match around and go into an unexpected tiebreaker. So the team that is now coming in with confidence has turned 180 around.
I don't even know what to say after that end game. Being able to pull that off is absolutely incredible. I think it's really shows us they're capable of it, right? This is how bad they want it. Look at how much they're fighting for it, playing it slow, figuring out their plan of attack. Their communications during that would have had to be so incredibly on point to enable them to get the door, get the Noed, avoid being hit, come in for the body blocks, and then block the killer from using his M2 onto those injured survivors. Absolutely incredible. I think we need to set up the next game. I want to see some Mastermind. I really want to see how this turns out. We haven't gone to a 3rd set yet tonight, have we?
No, in the entire event so far, in the non-played, oh boy, and Misery set, there was one, but on stream, it's the first tiebreaker set here in this best of 3 Mastermind on Shelterwoods. Ladies and gentlemen, we will show you Infernal and Divine Dead after a short break.
Welcome back. It's the tiebreaker set. We've got Mastermind. We've got Divine Dead on the killer. Tree Trick once again coming out with his incredible killer skills. We've got the survivor team of Infernal, who I think are going to be so pumped after that escape now that they're going to be absolutely unstoppable. I'm so excited for this final set. This has been such a close matchup, and I've been super excited watching it all. And I'm so glad to have Dyer here with me, supporting me through this at 7 in the morning as I yell about esports alone in my house.
Yeah, 7 a.m. for you. That's good. That's the really, really impressive thing here. Let's take a look on the Shelterwoods Mastermind. It's not the easiest map. Sometimes you really struggle to find the resources here, but the killer is also struggling to find the first survivor. There was a Nancy right behind the wall, but he does prioritize Mordo here on the Claudette, but Mordo is able to juice up a little bit, so the first filler pellet is leaving the Shelterwoods. 1-1, ladies and gentlemen, a tie. The pressure is around the corner, and they have to play a killer that just got recently added to Dead by Daylight, so it's not going to be a killer you played for thousands of hours where you feel really, really confident as and against this one. You have to show that you were really, really well prepared, because DBDLeague is also the first organization that even brings the Mastermind into the 4v1 gameplay here, so we need to be on point with the performance, but so far Infernal seems to be the one that manages to do that a little bit better here.
Yeah, I'm just shocked about all of our killers. As soon as they spawn in, we don't even get time to change the transition or change the scene before they're already in a chase. These survivors with their game sense doing survivor spawns, absolutely incredible. But but we are going to get our first hit on Chrissy. We go for the high-intensity lunge into the grab, but we're unable to get it. The Juka looping of Chrissy is just far too strong, but I also think that the survivors are going to do what they do best. Come on in for a hit. Give Chrissy a chance to get to a better tile, which they're able to do a bit of distance there. I imagine Slow will head on off and get reset by his team. Chrissy is doing an incredibly smart thing, which is running the killer within the corrupted generators. So this allows our remaining survivors to get on the gens that aren't being corrupted, but we don't have corrupt anymore anyway. I think Treetrix is a little bit worried about the pallet save. Chrissy kind of getting the back shown at this pallet here. I'm excited to see if someone runs in and saves the day. This is going to be an early hook if he gets it, which it appears he's going to. There's always that little pause of when someone picks up in a pallet. I've got a little bit of PTSD from all of those older tournaments that we've seen in the past, but we are going to apply. Pop goes the Weasel, Call of Brine, and Eruption simultaneously with one kick of the gen. A really nice lunge attack going into the BT hit onto Chrissy. Again, 2 gens down, 3 to go. 2 survivors injured, only 1 hook. Dyer,
Yeah,
I'm gonna need you.
Good.
I'm gonna need you to help me out here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking the best. I hear the worry rising up in your voice, and I have to agree on that. It's not looking the best here for our killer though as well, because yeah, you have a Call of Brine right there, but 2 generators have been already popped. You just have 1 stage. There are resources still remaining in the trial, and Slow has so much confidence from the recent run he was doing on the Wreckers Yard against his tunnel here, making it all the way towards the shack. Not even enough to reach that with the power in 1. So this is going to be a survivor you really want to drop chase with. 3rd generator coming off here. Infernal now riding the wave. They needed a little bit of warm-up, it seems like, in this best of 3. But now they're really on it, and now they are really performing so well here. So if they are not being stopped anytime soon, that's going to be dangerous. But this is exactly what you needed. The down onto Chrissy here. Treetrick just when it's about to break apart, able to go for the down here, and it's not going for the basement hook because he does believe that there's a survivor waiting to block it or even throw the pallet. So good and safe decision to go for this here. But yeah, Barn, we need a very quick next chase. There needs to be a down almost in the form of a 2-tap.
It really does. We need to start getting the power rolling. You know, something that I've noticed about Treetrick not doing is a lot of the other Mastermind games that we've seen during our event. We've seen them really rely on getting those M2s and using the passive ability to slow these survivors down, give them that side objective of getting the sprays and forcing them to kind of cleanse themselves and vaccinate, I think is the term, I'm not quite sure. But really do something else other than the gens, because by targeting this one survivor and forcing the death, they're really allowing the rest of the team to sit on the gens. We're not seeing value from the build coming through like we did previously. We're not holding a 3-gen situation, and now we see a friendly unhook come in just by 1. We do manage to get a hit off, but we are going to go for the tunnel on Chrissy with 2 gens left. Chrissy choosing not to take the vault through the window. Will do now, and unfortunately will be going down here. I don't think we'll be seeing any slapping of the D, because we would have already seen that off of the first hook. But in the meantime, we do see another gen pop. So this leaves a 3v1 with 1 gen left, and Infernal do as Infernal did previously. They left these gens quite well split. So Treetrick here is going to have a bit of a rough time. He might have to be an M2 for mobility kind of guy, but he does spot a survivor off into the distance, and I imagine he will be starting to chase over here once again and look for another victim. A really nice vault there coming through from Slow, Mr. Captain, Mr. Infernal himself, running over to where the gens are located. Turn around, Slow, wrong way. But I think he's unaware of the gen positionings. This is not where you want the chase to be at this time.
Yeah, Slow grinding for the MVP, we could say slowly, right? Slowly. But on the killer, on point, pulling it back in the end game there in the previous trial. Such nice chases, delaying the tunnel out, and here once again taking responsibility. And this is really what you're expecting to come out from a captain who is stepping up, saying we're on the tiebreaker here on the shelter woods against the killer. We haven't even practiced that much because he got recently added to the game, and then taking this responsibility and shaping it in the form of a 5, 6, 7 minute chase at this point is just really impressive here. DB unfortunately taking the injury here, not being aware that the killer would be so close already. The stun is coming out. That's going to be a little bit of distance towards safety there, but still needs to make sure that the killer is not catching up too quickly. Sometimes when the Mastermind is using the power to close distance, I get a little bit of hillbilly on Shelter Woods feelings. I have to tell you that, but it's great to see a little bit of hillbilly vibes being brought back here. We see the next survivor, but already around the corner. Infernal, good with the coordination here, good with the mix between aggressive generator gameplay and staying a little bit behind to throw Tree Track off a little bit. Doesn't work over here. That's going to be a second injury. Now also you need to start deciding, do we go for a reset? And it seems to be the case. At least DB is receiving a heal over there. Tree Track immediately going back towards the generators, knows that there were at least 2 survivors involved, and since Slow was recently in chase, he knows that the generator pressure at the moment is towards 0. So the 3v1 scenario granting some options here. We do have the chance to take the pressure down onto the survivor team. If it's going to be enough is going to be the question, because the 3-gen typically for Shelter Woods is not really tight, and the survivors fully healthy now also have a lot of resource to offer here for the remainder of this trial. So let's see what they are putting up on. But if Infernal is not making a mistake here and playing it as confident as they do it right now with the slow approach to the generators as well, I can see generator number 5 coming out very soon.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think Tree Trick's kind of taken some time. He's realized the situation that he's in and what he needs to do, and I think it's time to focus up. I don't think that he's going to venture too far from that side of the map here where we've got the generators located. He is trying to use his M2 a little bit more now. Our survivors are kind of prepared for that. You can see earlier when we switched over, we could see them all running around with their little cans of first aid sprays, that they're ready to take those M2s if it happens. But we are going to see the M2 for mobility coming through. So again, Di, like you said, a little bit of hilly-billy on the Shelter Woods, using that M2 to get between these gens quite quickly, which I think is something that he'd be able to do relatively well, considering all the gens are on one side. Unfortunately, DB being spotted behind a rock and taking a knife to the back. He is going to be grabbed, choked, and slammed into a tree. Unfortunately, we will be reporting this killer to the police after the game for that abusive action against our poor DB here. But again, I think it looks like Infernal's going to play it a little bit slowly here. It's going to be tough to play it slow though with such an intense build for regression, with one kick of pop, eruption, and Call of Brine. We're going to be seeing a lot of progress removed from the gen, but we're also going to see a lot of regression continuing. Tree Trick is convinced someone's in the area though, so he's going to be lingering around, and what do you know, he's right here at the scratch marks, and we should see the unhook come through. There it is. We are going to be going for the infection, which we managed to get, but once again our survivors are carrying around their first aid spray, so they're able to kind of take that hit and then run to the safety and give themselves a little spray.
A little spray and a little reset into safety. That's going to be the decision for Infernal here. We do spot out the next survivor here, the only one that is still healthy. Our Claudette Mordo with the spray there. The ambulance of Team Infernal taking a hit here through the window. So once again, Infernal busy with resetting. One injury over here. A reset as an answer to that. Very unfortunate here for the killer to just miss that by a few inches here, but our Claudette holding W away from the generators, and that makes me think that they are teaming up on the generator. The only difficulty is they have just gone for a reset, so they would lose a lot of time. Okay, no, they are not busy with the generators. They are having a party over here with the spray. ambulance Infernal in action, ladies and gentlemen. So that means, though, yes, safety, but no to the generator pressure. And whenever the generator pressure is towards 0, every single hook stage and every single delay in the game is working towards the killer's favor. So that is going to be the difficult thing here. Sometimes it can work for the survivors if there's slowly percentages being brought into the generators, but that doesn't seem to be the case as of now. They played maybe a little bit too careful. We will find out when we have the bigger picture here. We do see that Slow is moving in to take a hit for the teammates, so that means that only one survivor is currently working on the generators. That would be our beautiful Mordo, and our killer taking this, being happy with the fact that Infernal would need to take some time for the reset here, going back across the map to contest the generator up here. It's a slow approach, it's working out, but I'm still struggling to say it's working out for the survivors, because I think Tree Trick is doing a phenomenal job here and he's keeping control over the shelter woods.
100%. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there on that one. You know, we saw so many gens pop quickly, but he's really been able to bring the game to a halt and give these survivors other things to do, forcing them to reset, forcing them to spray each other appropriately in the middle of the shelter woods here that we saw. I would like to give a special shout out to our producer G'day. I think every time G'day's changed the spectator position for us, it's given us something wonderful to see, if it's orbiting Milston around the map or if it's our survivor team spraying each other. So very wonderful job there, really good timing on that. But once again, we're gonna get the M2, get them infected, give them something to do, and go back and check on our gens. We can see the Criminalist off in the distance over here. We're gonna mind game the whole long wall, which I think definitely deserves a plus rep for there, knowing that there's no pallet, still doing these high intensity mind games, forcing Slow over to the side of the map where the gens are. I think the way that he's playing this jungle gym is trying to prevent them from running behind the shack, which is what they seem to be doing. But I think now Slow's been able to give them enough time to get a little bit of progress on the gen. We have been seeing them actively trying to get them done, and it does look like Tree Trick's going to attempt to commit to the M2 here. He does get the notification of the Infernal survivors spraying once again, but there's only so many sprays in the game, Dyer. They can't keep this up.
Yeah, at some point it's over with the sprays, right? And this also shows us one thing. Infernal is running out of resource, while the killer has all time he needs, especially when he's constantly able to go for the injuries and force the survivors to go for the resets. In this case, Tree Trick is not going to worry too much about what's going on in the map here. So full reset once again. This is potentially going to be the longest Shelter Woods game in the history of DBD comp, but I'm all up for that because Infernal is so far playing it correctly and they need this slow approach here, but Tree Trick just being one step ahead of them, always finding a good response and also knowing exactly how much commitment to a chase is possible without being punished too harshly. We do see the return towards the generator over here, trying to make sure that there's no survivor sneaking in. That's going to be a stun. We actually have a pallet remaining on this map. I was not expecting this after 25 minutes on this map that doesn't hand out a lot of resources to the survivors usually, but impressive that the survivors still found another piece of wood to work around here. And it's going to be the leave of the Adam this time in time, not taking a hit here and not taking another injury that would lead into a reset being needed. Back and forth here between the generators, we do see Tree Trick still doing a phenomenal job. At some point it will also come down to the question who has more dedication to take the third set point here, because you need to keep the motivation up, you need to keep the concentration up, especially on survivor side. The communication needs to stay consistent at all times here. So sometimes I feel like a singular player in this scenario has a little bit of an easier time, because especially when you notice you are able to keep 4 players or now 3 players under control, that is giving you confidence, right? So if Tree Trick is interpreting this delay in the match correctly, he could take a lot of self-confidence out of this.
Yeah, I agree. His comeback and again his ability to remain calm under pressure. You know, I think anyone in the position of having the amount of gens pop that we saw when he was getting his first kill would kind of go into panic mode and feel a little bit frustrated. It'd be really hard to keep your mind clear and make the right decisions and remain under pressure and performing well. But I think that's what we've seen consistently from Tree Trick, is that they consistently work well under pressure and they know what they need to do, and they certainly give their all to get it done, and they're putting up quite a fight here now, knowing that they need to really deny Infernal the last generator and escapes. There's no end game perks available here, so it's really down to him protecting these gens and making sure that another one doesn't pop, which will of course allow our survivors to leave the trial with extra points.
Now Mordo with the next hit here. Will Infernal go back to spraying action? If they have one spray left here, that's going to be the question. We do return to this generator up here. This seems to be the one Infernal picked right in the corner of the shelter woods, so the biggest distance also for the killer. Whenever he commits to a chase, it's the furthest to return. So good decision here actually to pick that one generator. I wouldn't be surprised if the other one on the top left has also an equal amount of progress here, so they do exclude the mid generator there, which would be the most sense, and that was a very optimistic swing. Even the killer realizes that and switches into Minecraft action. +5 stone there on the jungle gym. We do see a reset once again. This gives Tree Track the information that there is not going to be a survivor at the generators right now. There's going to be a little bit of a longer time. There was a little bit of a shake there on the controls, aiming a little bit off there. So we can maybe also interpret this as a sign that slowly the concentration is fading on the killer's side, but should be the same on the survivor side, because this was way too late, leaving the generator here. A little bit of a communication error in Team Infernal. The kick coming. Brian is calling this generator here. Claudette is moving away. This will be another reset around the shack area, not that far away from the killer if he would decide to move over, but here he also has to check on the other generator in the distance. Seeing these two is not going to lead anywhere, so you need to push this survivor off. We see how early they are leaving. Good communication and good awareness now over here. Barn, I'm going to force you into prediction because we do have a little bit of time here, since we are 30 minutes in the Shelter Woods game.
Record.
Is it going to be generator number 5, do you think?
Yeah, we're going to see generator number 5. I think that we've now got Slow and DB reset, and you can kind of tell, right, that they've been in this position for quite a while. I think that it's pro Duca looping from Mordo, or maybe just a standstill mind game. I'm not quite sure which one, but they managed to avoid that grab. Slow coming in for the body block once again. You know, I think Slow needs to realize that whilst body blocks are helpful, doing the gen is equally as helpful. So running over and getting chased and then forcing a teammate off a gen to reset may not be the play in this end game. It may just be splitting up, having one survivor on each of the gens. He can't be 3 places at once. He can't be in 3 chases at once. So I think they really need to stop going for the altruism body blocks. I understand that they prevent the downs and prevent the hooks, but if he's not going to commit to the chase, I think that we should just be focusing on the gen, and I think that Infernal will be able to get it. I think that it'll be within the next couple of minutes. We'll see the last gen pop, and then it's all up to the end game and how Tree Trick plays it. What are your thoughts? Don't leave me like this.
Oh, I have to predict as well.
Of course.
I thought I can let you predict, and then if it doesn't turn out, I can say, yeah, what a surprise, Ban predicted.
I've lost one of my team predictions since I've been casting for the DBDLeague, and I once again put myself at risk of losing that record. So I think it's only fair that you predict as well.
Okay, I definitely see the last generator coming out here. Infernal has too much experience to let this opportunity slip, in my opinion. If the 3-gen would be tighter, I could see Tree Trick getting this, but it's not the strongest 3-gen, right? I mean, it's a typical 3-gen for Shelter Woods, but it's not the strongest one gameplay-wise. So we do also see Infernal making the right decisions here. And one thing we need to mention when we are talking about the concentration loss that is potentially affecting them, at this point I can see this kind of becoming a routine. Even we have seen the survivors pulling multiple times behind the shack, resetting over there. Trick knows it but can't contest it, because otherwise he will give up on the generator in the distance. So you do not really need 100% mental effort all the time anymore. You can play this out like a routine. Okay, hit, let's meet over here. This is our safe spot, our safe zone. Reset and return. And this routine is also able to give Infernal quite some safety when contesting these final generators, and I think this is what we see at the moment. So the fact is, at some point someone has to give up over here. That's for sure. Otherwise we would be stuck here forever, and I don't think that's going to happen. Infernal is... I saw Trick taking this for a long time, but seeing how much effort Infernal is putting into this, how well they are planning this, how perfect they are doing with the judgment. What should we do? When do we reset? Where do we reset? When do we have to leave the generators? They're doing a lot of good decision making right here, and I think they will reward themselves. I don't see them letting that slip.
Yeah, I agree here. We can see as well just the power of Call of Brine, I think, in these types of scenario. Whilst it does regress the gen, you also get that notification when someone hits a good skill check. So there's information as well. So Trick's able to kick the gen, kind of go off, do his own thing, check the other gens, start a chase, hit someone, deny a spray, you know, all of these things. But unless the survivors are consistently hitting great skill checks or not getting skill checks at all, he's gonna know that you're back on there, which is what caused him to drop that chase at the shack on DB and head back up to the top side of the map over here, because we saw that notification in play there. So again, just showing the strength of the pick. I think Slow's had enough there, clicking, trying to get Trick's attention, saying, come over here, chase me, I'm ready. But again, Trick's smart. He knows what the survivors are trying to do. He knows that they're trying to pull him away from this side of the map, from the gens. But there's absolutely no reason for him to commit to a chase or leave at this point, considering the situation. He, talking about the gens that you mentioned, Dyer, not being in a perfect triangle, it's not the type of 3-gen where you can kind of stand in the middle, watch all three of them regress and see as survivors come in. He does have to be a little bit mobile in between them. But again, look at the progress on this one. You can see just how hard Infernal are working to get this last gen done and get out of the trial. But at the same time, I think Trick's doing exactly the same, going in between these gens, knowing that they're splitting up. I think now it's only a matter of time. We've got the 2 furthest gens being progressed, similar progress on both. He's not able to protect them both. I think it's only a matter of time now before one of these pops. I think now Trick should be aware that one is popping. He needs to commit to a chase if he wants more points.
Yeah, he needs to commit now to one of them, because he also has to realize that the points matter the most here. There's no endgame perk, and unfortunately, catching the survivor with the adrenaline after doing so much work for your generators, you're punished by Infernal with the adrenaline. Slow would be the survivor you really like to find right now. That is going to be the fresh hook here. Mordo and DB would be 1 stage each, so I mean, you would be happy taking anyone, but if you have the choice, you would go for Slow here. 2 survivors already rotating towards the exit doors here and making sure that the points are granted for the escapes. Trick is not contesting the exit door, is instead going for the survivor over here, running back towards the shack. That's going to be a potential hatch escape coming out very, very soon, or at least the body block, because now we do see them being ready at the door there, but Hillbilly action from our Wesker being able to close the gap here. Second survivor coming in, that's Slow, exactly the survivor you wanted to do. And is this actually going to turn from a potential 4K into just 5 stages, not taking any additional points here potentially, but able to slap slow into the rock there. Last second return of Mordo, making sure that the survivor is escaping the trial. This is actually not a single point being added, but this could be dangerous for Mordo. He's thrown into the tree, but not really flying away. That was really weird there on the end. A nice hitbox by Behavior, granting an escape for Mordo here. But Barn, this is devastating. From such a strong 3-gen contest into not a single point being awarded since that. That must be horrible.
To go through that whole thing again, we usually see the teams in a 3v1 scenario with 1 gen left and 3 gens just like that. We usually see them get picked off one by one. They'll die in the 3 gen and they'll get their stages confirmed. They'll force death on them. There were no hooks, Dyer, and that's what I think was just so impressive about this play from Infernal, and just how incredible that they were playing it was that they didn't allow a down on that side of the map, and they didn't allow a down anywhere on the map at all. I think, again, that's going to be just another kind of highlight for me, I think, is watching Infernal navigate their way through these situations. I think it's really nice to see. And I think that this is where we talk about our top tier gameplay and why the players and why the teams are playing for us in the DBDLeague. It doesn't necessarily matter that they're not looping one single pallet for 5 gens. It's the decision making and the ability to work through these really tough scenarios that I think separates the top players from the mid tiers and the bottoms. But with my my Infernal rant over, I think we are going to take a quick break, set up the next match, and see just how powerful Infernal's Mastermind is, and if we get maybe a shorter game that we can all enjoy. But we'll take a quick break, set that up for you, and be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you are recovered from the 30-minute Shelterwoods game, because Slow Galio is now going to take responsibility for Team Infernal once again. Killsep and friends coming up here. I don't see the roster screen. There we go. There is EA Kurtabare. I should be better informed here. But yeah, dangerous survivor roster, ladies and gentlemen. Divine Dead and a dangerous killer as well. Especially Slow playing every single killer for Team Infernal and also playing in all the survivor matches with a great performance. This is his chance to bring Infernal into the second round of the higher brackets here, so I'm expecting him to be on point right from the start. Using the power to catch up on the survivor, unfortunately not being able to grab them and injure them straight away here. The Firecracker not doing too much work for the Team Divine Dead, but that's a quick injury, and that could potentially lead into a little bit of danger here, because I think that was unexpected for these survivors who considered himself being in safety here, rotating around the rock and then back towards this tower here. Lucky break, not able to throw. Slow off as well. The vault coming out of the window here, back and forth. Good work, but able to catch the survivor and throwing them into the tree here at the edge map. That's a very quick down and a perfect start for Infernal.
Yeah, this is just what you want to see. You want to see them getting infected, using the sprays early on. I feel like there's some type of a strat where you load in and grab a spray. There is only a firecracker and a flashlight allowed against the Mastermind, so it wouldn't surprise me if the other two survivors pick up a spray and keep it with them for the game, so that they have that because they don't have another item. But really nice start here. We are starting off with the infections. We do have 1 gen popping a beautiful stun there, denying Slow of his lunging, grabbing ability coming out. His bound. No one in chat corrected me on that one, but it's the bound. He is going to be walking around with a wound up tentacle. Very terrifying display of the killer's power. I imagine walking in for the unhook is going to be quite difficult when you see this man standing here ready to bound at you. I think that Slow's defense here is going to be confirming second stage. Missing the first bound, going for the second, missing that as well. They're able to get the unhook, a hit through the pallet. Finally, something connects for Slow. I've been seeing him swing through things all night and not get a single hit. It's nice to see him get rewarded for the swing there. We are going to be using the power. I think that's the difference here, Dyer, between Slow and Tree Trick, is that Slow is going for these M2s. He's trying to get them infected, giving them that side objective, but again, a lot of these tiles and these filler pallets with these circular rocks make it incredibly difficult, as he can only kind of lunge in a straight line. So very tricky for him to use his power. He can still vault the pallets there and make up a little bit of distance, but unless you're some type of a mastermind expert, which I don't think exists just yet, it can be very difficult. But once again, Slow just proving me wrong, making me look silly after saying that he just simply grabs the ace, going for a little mind game there. Again, a little bit too late for the body block, so he is able to get the down on the ace, and that will be the second hook. Still 4 gens up. And we've got our Nia kind of shadowing the chase, ready to take a hit. We do see another gen pop, but that's potentially one survivor who's coming in, trying to take a body block and not working on the engines.
And now going to be involved here in the next chase with our Claudette. She's able to take some distance and not going to take the injury. And now returning back towards the hook just in time. The survivor's already trying to move away here, and Ace is going to be the next one in the shack. That's going to be the mending effect applied. Shack pallet being sacrificed, not taking any risk here because it is a tiebreaker and it is a very, very close game. So you need to be sure, you need to make sure that you're not taking any unnecessary down, especially not in the mid game here, while we're trying to figure out who has the control over the match there. So totally understandable that resources are now being thrown a little bit quicker, but Nia needs to potentially return to this filler pallet right here because she's just taking the injury as well, is able to reach it and needs to make sure. Actually, that's another survivor right here. We are switching back and forth, and that's unfortunately a lost mind game into the death hook, and therefore the potential elimination there, not even able to help with the other survivor because they have been located due to leaving scratch marks here. Now the risk of Divine Dead is insanely high. They're taking the injuries from that, but this is a potential flashlight save, but missing it. This would have been so important for Divine Dead. This would have been a game changer as a whole, but unfortunately off with the timing there. So tragic for the Ace here who's leaving the trial. This would have changed a lot around.
This is the response here from Slow is absolutely incredible. We've got a death, we've got 2 gens left. This is similar to Trick Trick's position from earlier. I'm really excited to see the difference that we're going to see in Slow's gameplay compared to Trick Trick's, because as you can see, very similar position, similar build, but Slow does have the Noed for the end game. He's able to guard these generators, and of course he's able to get that down in the end game if need be. And if the totems remain, he is going to be chasing a Claudette here. All of these survivors are injured, which is naturally putting themselves at risk of an early down and a much shorter chase. Slow proving as well that he's very, very good at running the loops. We do see the eruption value coming through right now. We will see our Claudette take a hook. 2 gens remaining, as I said, but we are going to see this hook, I think, being used quite often in this match today. Again, another similarity between the previous game is these 3 generators all on the one side. He is going to be kicking this gen, and I imagine be M2ing for mobility, just like the Hilly Billy himself would, over to this side of the map to see what's happening over here, and if our survivors are going to be resetting. 2 injured survivors, 1 on the hook. There is a reset on the Nia, and I imagine it's only a matter of time now before Slow has another down.
Before the next down is coming through, there needs to be a lot of work. I have to agree on that. We would love to see the unhook, potentially a reset, and maybe even getting a few percentages into the next generator here. The list is getting longer and longer, so it is going to be a lot of work to do for Divine Dead here, which are now going to be in the next chase with the Adam here around this tile, the almond tile, as we like to call it, vaulting the window there, trying to mind game the survivor with that, and that kind of worked here. Also, Adam now forced to work around it, not going for the second one here. That's going to be the quick down onto Adam here. Slow being really, really strong with taking the downs right after another and making sure that the pressure is really, really high, keeping the survivors busy with the actions of unhooking and resetting to grant the safety. So really, really good work right there. It's a fresh hook, however, so 2 minutes being granted to Divine Dead right there. But we do have the 5 stages, so I believe that is going to be the struggle phase, confirming Infernal's win here, Barn, and I don't see Slow letting that slip.
No, not at all. I mean, he could definitely wander over to the other side of the map, but now after seeing these scratch marks, I don't think he has any reason to. He's going to run after this survivor and intimidate them with his tentacle out. He does manage to get the grab, and this is going to be another hook, and what I imagine to be the winning hook in this game, Dyer.
I have to agree on that. Now we do see Adam in the background taking a reset, so they are setting up here for the unhook and then going for the potential one, but it's not going to be enough anymore. The only thing you can take is a good score, right? And you would like to take a very nice result here after playing 6 trials to also set yourself up a little bit for the lower bracket there for your opponent that is coming in form of Void. And Void is also a team that has a lot of potential shown today. So taking an out here and a good score would be a really nice preparation for what's waiting for them at the upcoming weekend.
Yeah, I've had such a joy watching these matches. I think it's been a really nice watch. Infernal's performance on Survivor, you know, I think I kind of talked them up a bit coming into these matches about watching them grow and watching them perform consistently and incredibly well over and over again. I think that they didn't let me down again today, and they really came out and showed what I was talking about. But that being said as well, Divine Dead putting up the fight that they did, and again, such strong performances on both Survivor and Killer. I think there's a couple of things that they can work on, but they're definitely deserving of their spot with us here in the DBD League.
Now, once again, our Claudette trying to make distance and trying to waste as much time as possible. And she has this filler pallet here to work around it, is able to do that so far. The second one not going to hit her here, ending in a rock. And now going to be in chase here once again. Good mind gaming, forcing Slow to break the pallet here. So really, really strong from her. But this is now going to be the hit into the tree and therefore the quick hook. We have one more gen to go still. I would expect a few percentages being in that last objective at this point, knowing how efficient Divine Dead is working. But it will still take a little bit longer. 50% over here, not going to be the generator that will be repaired on for the next minute, as the killer has just been around here. The question is it going to be this generator or the other one over there? It's going to be a kick right here, and our 2 survivors that are remaining in the trial should go for another reset here, keeping it safe, and then I can still see it happen that they potentially take the final one. Otherwise, I still see the potential for an endgame play here.
Yeah, I think we may be going into the endgame play again with the bleed out rule changing though. So being fully aware of that, yesterday I think we kind of saw a lot of people where some of them were playing around the new rule, some of them were unaware of the new rule that we had come in. So I think this allows our killers to be a little bit more relaxed in the end game, knowing that they're not going to lose out too much. So once again, hitting those grabs, he's been really, really good with his bounds this game. So he will see this Adam be infected. It's almost like he's chasing himself from his last game, the Criminalist, one of the most popular survivors that we have in comp now, unfortunately, unable to escape the Mastermind and will be going down. And unless Kuda takes a trip around the shelter woods on the floor, I think this looks like a 4-key.
This is indeed a 4K here, and that's not the, let's say, not the performance I was wishing to Divine Dead, because they've also fighting very strong here. 6 trials against Infernal. That's already a big thing, right? Even forcing a needed tiebreaker against Infernal, which were definitely handled as the favorites here. So really, really good work on that one, and I can't wait to see Divine Dead in the lower bracket the upcoming weekend against Void. Infernal is going to take it though, the 2-1, moving on into the second round of the higher brackets. Slow celebrating a little for us with the great spin here. Congratulations! Both teams can be very, very proud for the performance here. And there's one additional match that is coming up for today. That's going to be Slotseger